Okay, hi you beautiful New Zealanders. Well, tonight we're in for another video. We're going to be talking about how New Zealand is inching towards tribal rule. New Zealand is slowly creeping towards Maori being in total control of this country. Did you know that? Every area of our society has been affected. So watch this. You may not realize, but New Zealand is now a two-tier nation. So today's video is going to be short. I'm trying to keep them under 10 minutes. It's part one of a series of 4 short videos. The subject that we're covering is very complex, so I'm trying to simplify this. This series has a special purpose, so please just put your dinner down or whatever you're doing right now and turn the telly off and listen to this. Namely, this video series is to help New Zealanders or the New Zealand public become aware of the extent of Maori privilege which is already operating in New Zealand society, and how this means that we are now already a two-tier nation. And we are much further along the road towards actual tribal rule than many citizens actually realize. Do you know what? We're like the frogs in the pot who are slowly being boiled, and we do not realize that the temperature is rising fast. So Kiwis must awaken to what's really happening. So in this 4-part video series, we're going to cover what is the range of this privilege, how did this happen, can it be cancelled or reduced or not, have we gone too far? No. What does it mean for New Zealand's democracy by 2040? You, as a citizen, must be aware of these facts as soon as possible, as things will move fast once the Act Treaty Principles Bill arrives for debate. No doubt about it, there's going to be massive Maori protest, and it's going to be all go. Where did this situation start? Well, there's no surprise as to where the situation started, of course, with the Treaty of Waitangi negotiations in the 1970s for redress for the alleged injustices of colonisation. Notice I use the words alleged. Well, why is that? Well, because somebody, Dr. John Robinson, in his latest book argues that there were no injustices. And I tell you what, I urge you to get this book and to read it. You can get it from Tross Publishing. Just Google the name of the book and you'll find it. It's well worth reading. So we must support David Seymour's Treaty Principles Bill like there's no tomorrow. What I'm asking you to do is to watch this video and connect the dots between the past, present, and the future. This video is like a snapshot of where we are in 2024. It's only 16 years away from 2040. 2040 is the date set down by Maori to have complete control of New Zealand. Did you know that? It's really a very short period away. It is only by all New Zealand citizens standing together and resisting the onslaught of Maori influence, and to do this by supporting ACT and their Treaty Principles Bill. We must get behind this bill. So what are the range of privileges? Be that as it may, where John Robinson says there were no injustices, be that as it may, Maori privilege is now so deeply embedded in so many areas that it is very probably impossible to eradicate them completely. I don't believe it is, but let's give it a crack. Many New Zealanders would like to see Maori privilege eradicated completely so that all citizens are treated equally. Isn't that what democracy is about, with everybody having equal status before the law? Really, that's what it's about. So democracy is gone. But Maori now consider these benefits as their permanent rights. They've been so used to privileges and entitlements that when you take them away, they call out racism. See? What are the range of privileges? Well, let's take a look at some of these privileges. And this is just a sample. You know what? It's not an exhaustive list. You'll think of things that I haven't mentioned, and there'll be things that you know that I don't know, but this is a list that we've got. Are you aware of all these areas? I'm sure you will discover some privileges that you did not know about in what I'm about to share. So here's some privileges in education, higher education, Maori schools. So Maori schools are different from like Presbyterian schools or Catholic schools or special privileges schools for other areas of society, because the parents in Maori schools have to completely submerge in Maori culture, tikanga, and learning te reo at home. So you end up the home being a really close extension of the actual Maori school. Maori promotion and propaganda in the education curriculum, they call it the Te Ao Vision, and there is a comic on the right hand side. Now I've done an analysis of that comic, and honestly it's a high-end propaganda comic, and that's been brainwashing all the kids in our schools since about 2018. Maori only education scholarships, compulsory treaty language courses for all first-year students at Auckland University from 2025. Did you know that? Every single student going through Auckland University has now to do a a course on Maori culture. Special travel grants for Maori and Pacifica researchers at Auckland University of Technology. Special Maori and Pacifica only study areas at the university. I mean, this is like South Africa now in the 1950s and 60s, except it's reverse racism. It's a reverse apartheid. Health, Maori only health initiatives and expenditure. A percentage of medical university places reserved for Maori. Priority access to care based on race. Well, the coalition government said they're going to change that to make sure it was all based on need, but you know what? It's still really full on in the hospitals where Maori are getting privilege. Housing and welfare, Maori only housing projects. Maori only welfare programs. You know what? There's 160 cultures here in this country, and only Maori are getting all this. None of the other 159. They're all citizens, they're all taxpayers, and they should be being treated equally, but they're not. Well, why? Law and justice system. Supreme Court approval for wider use of tikanga as law and equal in status to the common law. Tikanga as a compulsory subject in university law schools. The Waitangi Tribunal, it's only an advisory body, must have a Maori majority on that Waitangi Tribunal. The Maori Law Society has restricted membership. Treaty settlement to extend to Hapu as well as iwi, that's the 2024 Ngāpuhi negotiations. Maori only prisoner programs. And you'll be familiar with the latest one, which was an attempt by the Solicitor General to give special treatment of Maori offenders in public prosecutions guidelines, but that was withdrawn under the stern advice of the Attorney General Judith Collins. You'll know all about that. Lenient policing and sentencing involving Maori offenders. In the public service, Maori only employment consultants in government agencies. Continued priority of Maori names for ministries despite the coalition law to use English first. Land and conservation. Maori only consultation rights under the Resource Management Act and the Fast Track Approvals Bill currently progressing through Parliament. Maori only judges appointed to the Maori Land Court. Maori only co-management of control of the national parks, rivers, lakes and coastline. Maori only claims to the country's harbours, estuaries, foreshore, seabed and territorial waters and the air above it, with obligatory taxpayer funding of associated legal and research costs. Do you know what's actually happening here? Our government, this is insanity, our government is actually paying radical Maori to take over the country. They're paying their legal fees. They're paying Maori to sue the government, take the government to court. We pay all their fees. This is crazy. This is like Britain funding Germany's war effort. They weren't that stupid, but we are. Maori only fishing areas in the Hauraki Gulf. Tax and banking. A special Maori authority tax rate of 17.5%. Everybody else pays 28 or 30 something, but if you're a Maori, 17.5. A special Maori only exemption to allow blood relatives to benefit from a business tax-free charitable status. Diversity appointment policy for the Reserve Bank Board. Got to have a certain number of Maoris on their board now. National and local government Maori only seats in local councils. Maori only appointments to powerful local government committees, Maori-only regional statutory boards, Maori-only seats in Parliament, local council designation of all land as Maori cultural sites without ratepayer approval. That's the key. And I've just done a video in 2024 of the Govt District Council where the entire Govt District, 11,000 square kilometres, was designated as a site significant to Maori. Percentage of government and council supplies to be Maori only. See? Language, media and the arts, Maori language funding, public funding of Maori radio, TV and Maori journalism. None of the other 159 cultures get anything. Extended funding for Maori artists, writers and the performing art. If you want to see a great article about that, go to the New Zealand Centre for Political Research. Their blog, Jeff Parker, on the 11th of April 2024. It's all there. Alright, that's enough for this video. As I said, I would try and keep these videos about 5 minutes in length. Well, this one's gone to about 10 minutes. Sorry about that. We've looked at, in this video, that when these privileges started. Actually they started in 1840 but really took off in the 1970s, and we've also looked at the range of privileges. I think you would agree that the width and depth of Maori privilege is just huge in 2024, and to be honest, I think it's out of control. We're living in a two-tier society where apartheid is now rampant, an ethno-state. I know that many people watching this video would ask the question, well, you know what, how did this happen? Well, I'm going to answer that question in the next video, so I'll see you then. Please like this video, comment, it really helps, and pass it on to all your friends and your mates because we need to get this out there. Alright, see you next time. Thanks. Bye.